and welcome to this week's episode of The Fluid Voice. I realize it's a little bit different, but that's because we did want to deal with call-ins. And also sorry about our Discord being a mess. Hi, I'm Ozma in the Dark, by the way. It's one of those days, apparently. Still utilizing she, they pronouns for world domination. I am joined, as always, by Christy. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I am the mama that can dance, but I was the daddy that can't rock and roll. Nope, still doesn't work. I said I was gonna make that joke work, and I still couldn't do it.
It's okay. Still utilizing she,
I
her?
too have aspirations of world domination, but I use he, him pronouns.
Yeah. You know. Oh wow, I can't think of. My snobbery has just exited every portion of my brain. I want.
You use pronouns? Hitler used pronouns.
Yes, the same pronouns as every other tin pot dictator.
Yes. So this is a call-in episode. So we're gonna do this like every 10 episodes, just so we can talk with people we perhaps didn't think about talking with, or people we wouldn't want to provide a whole episode for. That said, yeah, like I said, sorry about our Discord has been a mess, but I believe I have fixed everything so that you can go into the waiting room and we can check or drag you in. That said, it is currently empty. So, this is why this episode can be a relaxing episode where we don't have to plan a bunch. Look, that was my secret plan all along, to not plan as much for this episode.
That's okay.
I think we've accomplished that.
Yeah, no. I was actually going to do some stuff to check out the Discord and just like sort everything out, but then I was gonna say I decided to come down with some sort of sickness. I ended up coming down with some sort of disease that I'm not sure what it is. It might just be an ear infection, especially because my right ear is super clogged or whatever.
I'm down with the sickness too.
Yeah, I know. I definitely posted that video to friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, let's there's a lot of topics to talk about, and
What has J.K. Rowling done recently?
oh god.
Nothing, thank goodness.
Yay. It's
You
a
mean
victory.
you finally learned how to keep her mouth shut on this? She hasn't decided to weigh in on it further? What?
You're not promoting a book.
Do you think she was possibly using the controversy to gain media attention? Gaming the system?
Yeah.
That's actually so sad.
Well, I mean, Graham Linham. Or sorry, Graham Linham. Fuck.
Graham is a thing unto himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can I say it, please?
Sure.
Graham is crackers.
God damn it. That
That's
one
not
was
bad.
good. But yeah, I assume By the way, I assume what'll happen is the one person I'll see in the waiting room is Zavaris telling me that's almost time to raid, and I need to. At least he wouldn't be bursting through the door that way, though. Just to be like, oh my god, you're not in raid yet.
Yes, well, the thing is that we need to touch on a bunch of topics, and then people may feel compelled to come and talk to us about them, or talk to us about something else. I mean,
yeah,
if somebody wants to talk about trans athletes, there's a hot topic that lots of people have an opinion on, or they just want the world to know what their opinion is.
Can have such an opinion on this. I know we've talked about this before, but like I don't think I get the impression that if you give
going to solve it today.
What?
We're not going to solve it today.
No, we are. We're going to solve it right here. We're going to solve everything. It's essentially conservative people, if you give them an inch, they try to take a mile. They like a good example is right after they tried to make it significantly more difficult for teenagers to get on puberty blockers in the UK, they immediately went and started to prevent people from getting hormones if they're under 25. Similar thing with bathroom bills. It's just like one step to try to eliminate the idea of any trans person existing. And the only study that I've seen that has any merit to the argumentation is merely saying that you need to wait 2 years, not one. That's it.
Mississippi is making it illegal to do gender confirming therapy.
Yeah.
I said that the tentative research on the puberty blockers looked wonderful, but I was still hesitant because it takes 20 years before you're able to comment on long-term possible side effects.
Yeah, but I mean,
then somebody in the biological sciences turned me onto a study. They've been studying it for like 27 years.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there goes my reservation. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody
I had forgotten that you knew that for some reason, and you were getting to that point.
Anybody here who's been on puberty blockers, please raise their hand. Oh, that would be me. Okay, I'm fine.
Hey.
I didn't part trans or nothing. Oh no, I'm fine.
No,
I was going through a very bizarre puberty, so.
Yeah, no. I mean, puberty blockers have been used for like, if kids end up on like if girls get their period at age 9 or something, they're just like, yeah, no, that's too soon. That's gonna cause health problems. So, puberty blockers.
Yeah. And that they've been doing studies on them, and they're fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, they work just as described. They just block that, and then you go through at a faster pace when you decide until you're caught up to your current chronological age.
Yeah.
Ta-da! It's really very easy.
Yeah. I mean,
I grew my last 4 inches. I grew my last 4 inches. I grew my last 4 inches of height at age 22, 23. So because I had a slightly longer start, that's about it.
Yeah, and I mean that's how it always is with those sorts of conversations. You end up, it's always too soon, unsafe, or we don't know the side effects or whatnot because the people arguing don't know them. The doctors and all the experts know the side effects. That's why they're recommending them.
Yeah, well, that was something I even said at the time. I was like, the medical community seems fine with it. I'm not entirely convinced because I don't know all of it, but they seem to, and they seem to be accepting it. But I'm a little bit, and then it was somebody, I don't even remember what their specialty was, but they were in the biological sciences, and they could point me directly to the studies.
Yeah.
That showed that this had been going on long enough that no problem.
Yeah, and same with gender confirming surgery. I mean, this is stuff that has been researched for so many years. I mean, there's a reason trans people showing aspects that they are trans in childhood was talked about in the DSM-3. Like, it's not a new thing, and trans children existing is not like a new thing. That's always been the case.
Well, I mean, we don't even have it. It's not even going to be 10 years since, or until the 100th anniversary of the first operation.
Yeah, and it's really just that it's people are finding out that there are different people and that makes them uncomfortable, so they want to retroactively explain why they're uncomfortable and why they should be uncomfortable in their mind.
One of the things
it's unnatural. It has nothing to do with procreation. See?
Oh my god.
One of the things I find odd, and I've never had occasion to bring it up before, is that none of our trans meds, not trans. When we say trans meds, we mean trans medicalists, but our actual medications, none of them are on book for transition services. I find that very strange.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
yeah. So one of the biggest problems, I mean, most of them have been studied for that, but when you do the top line search, drugs.com and stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was going to look for everything because I want to know everything, and that's how I am. Every medication that they were going to test out on me, because it's each person's a little different, it works a little different.
Yeah.
I had drugs.com had no transition related information on it.
Yeah, and it's weird because there is information out there. They give you a whole bunch of information. Well, or at least I got a bunch of information when I went to the doctor for utilizing informed consent, because that was the only way I was able to get on HRT. At least within a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's just it's the information's there, it's just not publicly available for some reason. Or as publicly available. You have to be like looking at various sites, which I was used to, because I mean that's where I got the Berdizo idea.
One of the biggest problems I found this last couple of years was so much of the information had disappeared from NIH and CDC because Trump scrubbed it. And I'll send somebody a link and there's nothing there. I said, oh fuck, is another thing that Trump got rid of. Well, Trump ate my homework is not a reasonable excuse. And I'm like, yes, but me not being an expert in this field is.
Yeah.
I just go by what other people No.
Yeah, and yeah, I forgot. By the way, is it okay if I go totally unrelated?
I think we're just bouncing. So
well, yeah, I know.
I think that's basically the title of this episode. Totally unrelated.
But today is an important day. It's Pi Day, the day that Stephen Hawking died, and the day I was hit by a car as a pedestrian. And because cars hitting pedestrians, like 50% of cars going 35 miles per hour hitting pedestrians, by the way, the 35 miles per hour is based on a police report thing. Anyways, because I don't remember that day, traumatic brain injury and stuff. There's a 50% death rate, and on the day I lived from that, and Stephen Hawking died. Therefore, I stole Stephen Hawking's powers. Therefore, superpowers.
Yeah,
it's just science.
Well, that certainly makes sense to me.
But it's like the one thing I love to brag about, and although it might be to some degree a coping mechanism, because I was hit by a car as a pedestrian and lost a couple days, and it was I got the bus card I got in one of the buses. And then immediately next thing I remember is trying to go in the bathroom in the hospital. And then next thing I remember was being in a hospital bed. So, yes.
I mean,
science as opposed to actual science.
we're just over 2 years from my being approved for hormones. Me starting hormones. And a week before that, my last suicide attempt. Those are related.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. One of the reasons I'm not bringing it up as much as I would, because it also the one thing, because I was swerving my car into a this is going to sound weird. I'm actually going to describe this a little bit. It's not trigger warning. Don't worry about it. I had gotten a ticket at a particular corner, like months and months before, and my affirmative defense was, I can't take that turn at the speed that you said I took it. I literally cannot. My car will spin out. So when I decided to take that corner and go that speed. And what made me swerve away and try and save the car, which I did, I smashed the entire side off, was seeing the way I had to turn my head is a thing that my kid bought me years and years and years ago that I keep in the car. It's a little dinosaur plushie that I call Copilot. And I looked at Copilot and I said, nope, I can't do this. So I saved myself at the last second. And that was the last time I even thought about that. Because about a week later, I started taking hormones and I found out what calm was and happy was.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, that is, yeah, it's almost like there was a series of research to try to help prevent massive amounts of death or whatnot, and well, I mean, not massive because of the percentage of the population, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
But that said, let's talk about something less sad. Police brutality. No.
I'm just saying. To me, that's not sad. It's weird to remember that I had that mindset, but it's not sad.
It's bittersweet because you're sweet.
Yeah,
and there are bitter aspects of it.
Yeah, why is this night different from? Oh, that's another total thing.
Yeah. So, police brutality still a thing. Still, nothing significant has been done. If anything, you have police who murder or brutalize people getting off either scot-free or just getting fired. You know, murdering someone.
The guys from Buffalo.
What?
The two cops from Buffalo who knocked down an old man and gave him a concussion that resulted in his having a limp, and he suffered brain injury that gave him a limp. So he has to walk with a cane, and so on. It was seriously injured him, and they were. And caught on film. You can watch the film over and over again. An unprovoked assault.
We saw it around here,
and they got off.
It's and it's complicated, but it's it's weird because everybody here knows that guy, and now I'm completely losing his name, which I shouldn't do.
Yeah, but it was insufficient evidence.
We all know him.
That the judge cited that there was that the prosecution had offered insufficient evidence to something to justify an assumption that they should not have been doing that or something. I was like, I there's got to be some technical legal thing that I'm not catching.
Oh yeah, it's there's nobody who doesn't like that guy. And why am I I'm so sad that I'm forgetting his name, which is like you can't forget his name. Everybody knows him. I'm seriously not kidding. He's one of those people that everybody knows. I'm sure your respective towns have things like that. Well, towns, it's a city. Have people like that. I'm not making any sense, so I'll stop. I know. Why should that stop me now? But yeah.
Hey, sense is just a social construct because you can technically break down almost everything into social construct, but sense is clearly a social construct based around the principle that what you're saying has to have a some sort of meaning, and you can't just, as if it's bad, just to spout random stuff that comes from your brain that nobody understands. Actually, I can kind of see why they might have utilized that terminology.
Just recently, a state passed a law dealing with the police brutality where I think it was Georgia, but I could be wrong about the state. They passed a law that it was an arrestable, actionable offense to speak disrespectfully by voice or gesture or so on, to in any way do anything that would reasonably incite a prudent person to violence. To do any of that towards a police officer was an arrestable offense, which in effect would mean that if an officer elected to punch you out, they could easily say that they were effecting an arrest because they did not like how you had stood. Yeah. That's a gesture.
That's not going to.
It hasn't been made into law yet, but even if it was made into law, it's going to be it's a clear violation of the
everything.
Second Amendment, First Amendment, and you go, this is going to be a First Amendment issue, and somebody will get a $10 million lawsuit out of it right away.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it's Martin Gugino, and I know it's past the time when I should say that, but it's like fine. It was gonna bug me.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, he also was that the same guy who, like, the day before, was being brutal to nonviolent people on camera as well? It's almost like there's like.
No, the Martin Gugino was the guy that everybody knows. Anybody, we have it's a long story, but we have an arts community here that's very tight knit. And even though there's a lot of people around, and he is one of the people that helps the homeless people who hang around the art community, because the art community tends to be generous towards homeless people.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, well, when I said it's a long story, that's not even close to it. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, no, they really shouldn't be, passing laws to try to turn police into officers of fascism, because no accountability means they can do whatever they want. I mean, technically sheriffs can provide some accountability for police, but unfortunately most cities and states like to elect former police officers to sheriff positions, so naturally nothing gets done.
Well, what surprises me here is that
John Henry offered from the thing a correction. I just wanted to get it in real quick. He was pointing out that he thinks it's Kentucky, and that sounds probably right. I would rule out Kentucky because there's so many things that go on in Kentucky. Kentucky sounds right enough to me, and if he thinks it's Kentucky, he's probably right.
Yeah.
I was very angry that nobody ran that John Flynn, the sheriff here, was unopposed and was on all 5 lines: Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, and working families, which are our main parties here. It's like, no, but no.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're just really popular.
Flynn is not popular. Well, I mean, he popular with someone, I guess. He's just not very good at it.
Yeah,
and that's what bothers me.
Yeah, see, this is why, because I think Minneapolis sheriff is a couple of years away. Or wait, is that St. Paul sheriff? Fuck. No, the point is, I need to get some money, get a bulletproof vest and a handgun, and then run for sheriff. Because I don't trust the police. I wouldn't trust the police not to shoot me.
Well, we've got the.
I think the point of it was. The point of the law that they were making was it's indemnification. It means that the state is proof against lawsuits for police violence. That's what they were looking to do with it. I'm sure that just makes sense. But of course, it makes them, they're open for civil suits for violations of civil rights. It was a short-sighted move.
In Kentucky?
Yeah, that law in Kentucky. If they got signed the law and then anything happened on it, the thing is it would be civil rights violations. But the reason for writing the law is then you are proof against civil suits for police violence.
I'm saying short-sighted in Kentucky. That's not a thing.
Well, yeah, big surprise there. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I mean, that's being harsh to the general population of Kentucky. We all know that the only people who are short-sighted are most politicians.
Well,
especially politicians in Kentucky.
Friend of the show, Jangle's Science Lab, or Justin, lives in Kentucky, so
yeah.
As does Bastian, his husband.
Yeah.
Well, one hopes so. I never asked.
Look.
Yeah, I know and respect Kentucky. I have friends in Kentucky, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize that their politics are kind of extra special.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I don't hate Kentuckians. I have friends who are Kentuckians. They're not all bad people. They're not all rapists and murderers and police brutality supporters. And
I was lost in Kentucky once, and it was a very frightening thing.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be when it comes to traveling across America. You're born and raised in America. You shouldn't have to worry about which state you go to or which city you go to.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of Harlem at night. I am afraid of I've walked Spanish Harlem at night, so
yeah.
Well, that's part of the problem with, you see, I view that as a big problem with like Texas, with their coming off of the COVID restrictions to form themselves into a super spreader, and you go, that interferes with interstate commerce. Other states have a right to shut down their borders and go, no, you can't come in here from Texas. You go into Texas, that's an oubliette. You can't come back.
All I can think of is labyrinth now. I'm sorry.
It's a good word for it.
I mean, yes, it is it is a fantastic word for it, but like now all I can think about is labyrinth because of the oubliette in labyrinth.
Yeah,
labyrinth is, yes,
and the fun logic puzzle. I should say.
Labyrinth was a really great film. It's a great kids film. It's, I mean, but it's a good film.
Can
less scary than Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, people should really, at the very least, prioritize the fact that people are Americans before that should matter. Caring about Americans should matter more than caring about skin color or religion or any number of things. America's weird that way. It's like, oh, America, fuck yeah, we're the best. Oh, by the way.
Okay, but then who are we supposed to persecute?
Yeah, no, I know. Well, you're supposed to persecute people from other countries. I mean, I know America is already doing that a lot, but like, you need to focus on that.
I know, but overseas is such remote persecution. There's no satisfaction in it.
Well, no, that's what the internet is for, so you can shit on Canada all the time.
Hey.
Well, we do that anyway.
I can see Canada from if I crane my head out my attic, I can see Canada.
Look, we've had wonderful Canadian guests and a horrible Canadian guest that we shouldn't speak of, but we also, are aware that Canada doesn't want the destruction of the Nazi soldier memorial in was that in Montreal or Ontario? I don't know Canada that well.
Yeah, Canada's a strange place. Yeah. You like to think of it as our better to the north, but they're kind of not. They have a lot of the same problems, but they just look different.
Well, I mean, so
the problems look different. The Canadians don't.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, we seem to hate Nazis a lot more in America than in Canada, and that's weird for me to say out loud given how popular Nazis have become in America.
And it's also funny considering that Canada entered the war a lot sooner than we did.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, look, we made a lot of movies about punching Nazis, and people were cool with that, or seemed cool with that until recently. We even had a movie about, American History X was a movie about, hey, people get into neo-Nazi cults, and neo-Nazi cults are bad, and the leaders of those cults don't actually care about the members, which is true, and are just using a bunch of people for their own weird, creepy agenda.
Well, here's to weird, creepy agendas.
Well, the good ones, not the bad ones. Because, like...
No, it's a me. It's a me, the trans agenda.
God damn it. Especially, it doesn't help.
I wrote the joke with somebody else. I just want you to know that. So
yeah, but there's isn't there the toadstool cap that changes gender? Or wait, is that right? I don't know. There's all the Bowsette things and like all that stuff, and I was pretty sure it was related to a toadstool cap in that game's universe.
I have no idea. Yeah, yes. So speaking of which, the new Harry Potter game, you can become transgender in it. That's interesting. Sort of.
Yeah. There are tropical fish that straight up switch gender.
Yeah.
Under the correct circumstances, I know I raised them, and like swordtails, if you don't have a male, one of the females will switch.
Yeah, and similar thing with certain species of frogs. Similar thing with a bunch of stuff, and obviously, well, gender is just a way of explaining sex is a way of explaining one tiny aspect of biology.
The joke I didn't write, which is, although I'll introduce it with my own words, I'm slowly forgetting what cishet is like, or cispan, whatever the fuck I was, because it's just all women all the time now, but it's all women, all women, three women named Lauren and then Jane.
Three Laurens and a Jane.
Three Laurens and a Jane.
That sex change thing that I was. Just want to point out that that's been a killer in a lot of arguments, because that was understood and taught when I studied ichthyology in Summer Science Academy when I was 8. Okay, yeah. It's been a known thing for a long time.
Yeah. Like,
but
yeah, go on.
The thing is, I've forgotten what cishet is like, and it's like, wait a second, you mean you're a straight couple? I mean, so which one's the woman and which one's the other woman?
I mean, I would argue for me, I never knew what cishet was like, but that said, yeah, no, I don't think far enough in relationships. I'm just like, this person's pretty, or this person gives me nice feels, and then I don't really have an end goal outside of holding hands like half the time.
I've been in love before, and I found that love was more than just holding hands.
Well, yeah, I mean,
when in doubt, say Beatles lyrics.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, I shouldn't go into, look, there's been a lot of thirsting lately on certain aspects of Twitter. In certain aspects of my Twitter. Look, I'm just saying, I really want to see the new Thor movie.
Is that's now our code, is it?
Yeah, I just really want to see the new Thor movie.
Drinking tea in the old days. Tea, eh? A small world.
But yeah, it's in terms of slightly more serious topics, obviously, ableism is still a thing, and that sucks.
Well, we have our expert on here. Emily will be doing next month. We'll be doing a thing on my channel, just to promote my channel for a second.
Yeah.
Because I will likely forget, because I always forget everything.
Yeah.
At the end. Oh, that's going to be that's going to be hopefully not as intense as I think it's going to be. Make any sense? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No. Words. I probably should have planned this out more. I was hoping that someone would show up. This is my mistake.
Well,
I realize we're still small, and this is the first time doing explaining how we're doing things. So
and Katie's on Jimmy's show tonight. That doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We'll just figure it all out.
Look, no one has shown up wearing a ski mask. We're doing good.
That is true. No one has shown up wearing a ski mask. No one has randomly popped in to play a porn video. These things did not happen.
They all count in our favor. See?
That's true, and also why I have like the quick button set up for AFK. Emily might
how happy are you guys with how the Biden administration has been handling the resetting the trans issues back?
Wait, Emily's decided to pop in. I'm gonna drag her in.
Oh.
You cool with that?
Okay.
Yeah, drag her in.
Yes.
I don't think I need to go check out and make sure that she's okay.
Yeah, no. I know she's okay.
Finished, perfect.
Hey, Emily.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
You need to
we
turn
can hear you fine.
You're a little bit low, but I can turn up on my end.
I can fix that because I have to.
Well, I turned you up on here so other people can see. Okay. Can hear you.
Hi.
So was there something in particular you wanted to bring up?
You talked about ableism, and so I was summoned.
Yes, that is true.
Wherever.
Your name was invoked, so.
Yes.
No, you only said it once, so that's not a true invocation. But thank you.
It's fine. Ableism. See, I know what to do to get you
ableism is default invoked enough. So for one thing to start with, partially why standardized treatments for things are not put on book. Anybody know?
No, I actually don't.
It's called lawsuits. It's called malpractice.
Oh.
Right. See? If you don't put it on book as a thing of the way you're supposed to do the thing, nobody can, bring a lawsuit and say, you did it wrong, and you caused long-term damage to me, so fix that. So it's not actually just a traditionally political thing. It's not just the party of name or whatever. They do it, and they do it
because then if they didn't mention it to you, didn't offer it, that would be malpractice. They would have not performed according to the standards.
Correct.
Oh my God, that does make so much sense.
Never thought of it.
We've got so many problems in our system. We really do.
We do. I will.
Well, that's just sort of like, I can end the arrest rapes. We just make rape legal. It would end it, right?
Well, but it also depends how you define rape and who does the thing, which is a problem even as it stands. Because the legal
but I'm just saying, it's like bank robbery instead of rape. Just more people are willing to. There's some people who go bank robbery. That's not such a bad thing, but you can just make bank robbery legal, and there's no more problem with those crimes of bank robbery.
Pleading rape down to stealing a Snickers bar. Yeah.
Well, and that's been done effectively, but that's a different story, and I'll try not to go on that tangent. But so that's part one. Part two is police violence and brutality is a thing that comes up often here.
Yeah.
You want to take a guess as to?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, that definitely also pertains to ableism, given the rate at which police officers get called for someone having an autistic freakout or whatever.
Or a mental health crisis of varying degrees.
Yeah, and then the police come in and shoot the person.
Yeah. And the last big incident of that happened a couple of months ago at this point, and it was a cute little 13-year-old white kid.
Yeah.
So they didn't even have standard cover. They also beat the shit out of a 9-year-old little black girl, but that was, made less news.
Well, that made it's huge news around here, obviously.
Yeah, but nationally less so. The 13-year-old boy, the white kid, got CNN Inc.
Yeah, and police have shot 9-year-olds playing with was it like a toy truck or something?
Oh yeah, that's a Miami thing, and I know 2 of the places where that kid's been placed directly. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
And they're trying to kick him out of his group home currently for stuff he didn't actually do.
Oh.
By the way.
Wow. So racism and ableism all tied into one little neat package.
But the great thing about the Miami situation, when the cop was asked why he shot, and there's police radio stating that he was there was a no shoot order that was placed. They specifically said, don't shoot, nobody shoot, everybody wait, hold on. They basically put a stay on everything. When the cop was questioned as to why he shot the caregiver, you know what his response was?
Why?
Oh, I wasn't aiming for the black dude. I was aiming for the brown kid in front of him playing with the truck.
No, that's... What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow. And wait a minute. He said that as if it made it all right? That's...
Yeah, obviously. But his excuse was, in his 23-year-old, at that point, we gave him a gun, but suddenly he's immature, brain. It was the truck that he had, that everybody had agreed prior to setup, was a truck, and was not actually a weapon. It was made out of metal, but when you're 15, when you're 20 plus feet away, sort of immaterial.
Yeah.
That he, in his mind at that point, it was a weapon and an imminent threat.
Yeah, no.
So, there's that. Also, basically, anybody here know what compliance training is?
Yep.
I forgot.
Okay. The working definition of compliance training that we're going to kind of go with for now is effectively, especially as a minority and or disabled person, you are taught to comply first, comply second, and comply third. And if you do anything else, any consequences that you there secondarily acquire are your own fault because you were not sufficiently compliant prior to all the other things.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, this happens in schools a lot. It happens with disabled people a lot. It happens to, and when I say disabled, and for the purposes of this conversation, I'm also going to include neurodivergent people sort of separately, not because they are separate, but because if you're neurodivergent and you're not adhering to social norms, people with guns and itchy fingers can get a little bit uncomfortable, and that can go badly for you.
Yeah.
I made a video a while ago about the I'm the one who didn't have to have the talk about compliance because I'm very white looking.
Yeah.
Well, that's true to a point, but you're neurodivergent enough that it still could have been an issue. It's a different talk. You probably still should have had.
Yeah, my mother doesn't believe I'm autistic, so.
Yeah, no, I get that. There's also that level of with certain types of parents, if you don't name a thing, it's not a thing and it's not real. Sort of the reverse invocation.
Yes.
If you don't name a thing, if you don't claim the thing, it's not a thing, so we just will pretend. Yeah. Anyway, I'm in a mood right now, so if you need to rein me in.
You know what?
Right.
So
no, I don't feel like reining you in at the moment.
Okay, well, I will accept redirection more readily than I might otherwise under general circumstances. But so also approximately the last data that I saw that I don't have in front of me, approximately 50% or so of the people who experience police violence are people who are disabled to some degree, especially if there's injury. So neurodivergent, you're deaf, you're for some reason unable to immediately comply with directives given by a person who perceives himself to be an authority.
Yeah, which obviously, as someone who is on the autism spectrum, I will mention right now that being yelled at to do something is not a good way to get me to do things.
No.
I get hypersensitive to. I mean, depends on the day, how well I can manage stuff, but in general, right. I tend to be hypersensitive to sound, and then I just don't know what to do and flail around.
Yeah, and that doesn't really go well in
no
situations where you're supposed to be responding to authority. And you're relatively lucky at this point in that you're generally, in most cases, on site, not immediately perceived to be a threat. From a distance. By most people.
Well, that chest certainly should be illegal. Hey! I'm sorry. She wants us to bring up her breast at least once a episode.
Wait,
so
no, I didn't say that. I really didn't say that. I'm getting to the point actually where it's starting to be a bit much. Where I'm just that was months. That was November. It is starting to get a little boring. That running joke.
Okay, it was a point of pride, and now it's less interesting. Great.
Well, yeah, no, okay. That's the classic experience that a lot of women go through. Oh, it's really cool that I have big breasts. Oh, everyone mentions it, and no one shuts up about it. It's been a bit. I think I'm good.
Okay, it's called normalization. Congratulations. There are t-shirts.
Yeah, but then people are only going to talk about my breasts more.
Well, you asked.
It depends which end of the spectrum you want to go towards. We can respect boundaries.
You know me by now. If you ask not to do it, I won't do it.
So you basically just want a t-shirt that says, "Don't talk about these."
And then with bright stars below that. And the lettering right around my chest, and just bright stars below that, and it's just
Do you want a hat with lighting fixtures as well to match?
It's fine,
I can't
Christy.
hear
you can bring it up every once in a while. It's still kind of a funny joke. I just sometimes it gets brought up. It feels brought up a bunch in terms of running jokes, and I'm not always in the best mood for it.
No, that's fine. Can you turn Emily up? I really can't actually.
Okay, I can turn me up too.
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah. See, anyway, I brought that down artificially for another usage. Anyway, so ableism is a thing. But one of the reasons why I yell and scream about consent so much in places that people don't normally think about consent and autonomy, and they think it's really freaking boring. But in my head, in my world, it's not.
Yeah, no, consent is vital.
I live in a world where, in not COVID times, strangers, literally people who do not know me at all, feel empowered to come up and lay hands on me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. Just in general.
I had the weird issue of being when I was in the wheelchair of having people think that they could pushing me was helpful.
Oh yeah, see, but you didn't get the bonus that I got. Where I'm going to imagine I'm going to assume that you didn't get the bonus that I got. The bonus that I got was people would come up behind me, push, assume that was automatically helpful, and then just let go in the middle. So you end up careening towards the wall. So it's freaky because somebody is behind you and like directing you in ways you didn't necessarily plan for. Yeah. And then like they get bored or distracted in the middle and you're just like momentum is taken over. That's not really fun either.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a reason why a lot of people, but especially women, if you get a chair customized, one of the first things people will remove are push handles because people are assholes.
Yeah.
And they just presume that is something that is of their purview. And it's like, no, that belongs to me. And unless I give you very specific and concise directives, hands all the way the fuck off.
Yeah, like, the only people should be, the only people who should be directing a wheelchair ever are people who who, you know, the person in the wheelchair has said, hey, you know, well, the person might have come up and asked and been like, hey, can
you help me get from point A to point B? This would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Because, like, I can probably speed you along faster than the, well, I mean, I don't know, like, I can probably speed you along and it's less effort or whatever.
Although speed's not always the best thing. In Toronto, getting the wheels caught in the trolley tracks was not my favorite thing because instant dump.
That's a failure of technique. Yeah. You can work on that.
I had a friend who it was practically his slogan: "I don't want anybody to push my wheelchair. I just want I just want to be able to get in.
Correct.
I want to be able to get there. I don't want anybody to push my wheelchair."
Correct. Yeah. And you do that basically, or I do that and have done that, and a lot of people that I know have done that basically as a default safety mechanism. Because if I don't know what you're going to do, then I don't want to have to deal with the consequences. So stay over there. No further back that way. And whatever you think is going to be helpful, use your words first, or just don't do a thing.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it, but that was part of it was the double meaning and his advocacy and his saying that I'm not looking for you to do it for me.
Well, yeah, that's
not what I want. I don't think that you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
Yeah, although as soon as you said you don't know what they're going to be up to, I'm thinking like, and you're the getaway driver.
You don't advertise that, honey.
No, it's really fun.
Because the other half of that joke is because one of the things that I get typically is people go, "Oh, how much for a ride?" And it's like, if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
And if they push it, its ride started at $100. The price goes up from there.
Yeah.
You can't afford me. Go away.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's not generally viewed as consensual for people to randomly pick up other people and walk them around places.
Correct, but see, this is part of the problem that exists partially with disability and partially, especially in this case and in this example, with mobility equipment in general, is it's not... It simultaneously is and is not a part of you. If I use equipment directly and rely on said equipment in order to keep myself mobile and or safe, it is, during the point at which I'm using it, effectively, essentially part of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason, like, you don't see a person walking around with a cane and you're just like, Oh, I'm gonna pick you up. It's better for your. I can get you around easier.
No, but I know blind people who have had people come up to them and try to physically remove their canes from their usage.
The fuck?
Yeah, I've had.
No, the
yeah,
fuck is wrong with people? Like, I.
Oh, and then subsequently
I
to be told that's a weapon, so you can't have it here.
No. Oh my god.
No, it's not. And even if it was, fuck off.
I mean,
well, we're all Daredevil, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. So yeah. I'm sorry, I got all the way thrown off. So
it's fine. This has been a relatively quiet Colin episode, so
I'm trying not to talk too much. It's a problem that I have. You haven't noticed that at all.
No, because I constantly talk. I have trouble not talking too much. This is why I was gonna say I created the show. I didn't create this show. I was I helped create it and maintain it specifically for the purposes of me talking more.
And
I've been enjoying what you had to say, Emily, so I haven't seen any problem.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to.
I also think that I like to think that I am less ableist than most people, but I still feel that I am more ableist than I would ideally like to be. I just don't always see it.
Well, and that's the thing.
You know,
a good example of that. A couple of years ago, before the whole marriage equality thing passed, there was a big marriage equality queer convention thing down in large city adjacent to me, and a friend of mine, it was one of those huge big ticket pillar events. Jazz Jennings and a whole bunch of other quote unquote famous people were there, and I knew a friend of mine went, and I had just recently been at large convention venue. And so I messaged her and I'm like, so what was the bathroom situation like? Because I had just been there and argued with staff about bathroom access.
Yeah. And
they're like, yeah. And also I knew some disabled advocates, physically disabled advocates who were there and had access issues as well. So I'm messaging her and I'm like, so when you did your photo op, were there any issues that occurred? And the issues basically boiled down to, when we have an event of X size, we only open X number of restrooms based on purely large numbers expected.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but see, the problem with that when I was there at that venue for a disabled flavored event prior to the queer one, you have a disproportionately large number of wheelchair and other assorted mobility equipment users. So normally having 2 wheelchair accessible bathrooms open for the entire, actually no, they closed it because I snuck and got into one that I wasn't supposed to know was unlocked. Because I do this thing where if a door doesn't say you can't go in there and I see it opened, I'm gonna go through the door. Yeah. And if you didn't tell me that I couldn't be there, I'm going through the door. And especially if I see staff cut through there, I'm going through the door. So for half the convention, for half the event that I was at, I used bathrooms that were supposed to be locked, that I wasn't supposed to have access to or even know were viable.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sneaky bitch, and that's how I roll.
Well,
the door said staff. It didn't say staff only.
I mean, the thing about that is there's so many bathroom problems
exactly.
with disability stuff.
Yes,
I played a jokey bathroom empire simulation game on my phone, and one of the places bathrooms for people with disability was considered a luxury.
Well, of course it is. You know why? Because they're bigger, and it's easier to do your makeup and change your clothes and get ready for a date in there. You want to know how many times I've had to curse bitches out over that shit?
Oh my god.
I don't care. If you're waiting for your date, do that somewhere else.
Yeah.
There was a time I went to pick up my kid at school, and there were a lot of non-tagged people in the spots, and I finally just wrote a note to one of them. Would you like to use my blue tag? I apparently don't need it anymore.
Yeah, don't do that, because there are people who will take it from you.
Yeah.
By force. Don't do that.
Well, yeah, but
so
I had to walk almost a half a mile. So
yeah, I get that, and I get leaving the note. And believe me, I've been with people who A, left notes, and B, started fights to points where cops were almost called.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is why my suggestion of shooting out the tires of the car probably wouldn't be the best option.
No, that's why you carry a switchblade where it's legal.
True.
Oh, darn, I'm in the old.
It's fine. I also have a hand axe where it's legal.
Ooh, I have one of those. I have a batleth too. So
okay,
but
batleth is clearly the better option, but like,
it lacks subtlety. So there's the problem there.
Well, yeah, same with the axe. This is why I should go with the it's like a gauntleted finger, and right around where the finger connects, there's like, that's around where the blade is connected, and you can.
So like which blade? I mean, sorry.
Wait.
It's okay. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's not something.
Never mind.
No, it's fine. No, it's just one finger. It's not the whole hand. See, I looked stuff up.
Yeah. So it was just funny going to having been seeing aftermath of the conference where like bathroom this was immediately after bathroom bill had been like a huge issue. Being somewhere subsequently where I was specifically told, and people at the conference that I was at were specifically told, no, you don't need that many bathrooms. No, you don't need that wait. And like, there's a line of us, like all the way like down 2 hallways.
Yeah.
You have the facilities, unlock the damn door.
Yeah.
And being told objectively, no, you don't need it. Wait your turn. And then simultaneously to be told, oh, you don't have an equality issue. Oh, you don't have an equity issue. How long has the ADA been passed? It's like, no.
Yeah, bathrooms are kind of important. You know, people should realize the level of importance a bathroom is, because people need to pee, and it's apparently legal to, you know, pee all over the floor of a place. So you have to use the bathroom for some reason.
Well, bathrooms
have
always been used to control participation.
Yes,
that sort of thing. That's
the golden leash is a thing. Still is, very much so.
Yeah, and if you don't, you know, then you don't have to see as many disabled people as there are. It can always just be a rare thing, because if you prevent events where a bunch of disabled people end up, you know, showing up to.
Well, but then you also have the flip side of, oh, we had this event, but they didn't participate fully and they didn't appreciate it completely, so why would we have another event? Because obviously those disabled people are just, you know, uppity and ungrateful. So
yeah, you should be grateful for the small bits of of scrap that we give you.
Correct.
You know, I'm going to sit back here with my wondrous luncheon of high quality food, but you know, when I handed you the scraps of the leftover food, you're like so fucking ungrateful.
Oh yeah, but it was just funny to me because at that conference I was told, you know, she looked at this and this person is very involved in like a lot of advocacy for a lot of minority groups, but not directly with disabled people aside from me, because she's just not that lucky in her general life. She's like, yeah, I didn't notice that at all. I'm like, yeah, you want me to show you these threads where people like at that event were like, yeah, I couldn't actually like do what I needed to do safely and participate in the event? Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that was a problem. Yeah, you wouldn't notice it because whenever you needed to pee, it wasn't really a problem.
Yeah.
Funny
that.
And also, yeah, prior to that, the other really fun and exciting example, I was at a quote-unquote leadership conference a couple of years prior to that. And at the same event, I was as like in my mid to late 20s, so like college graduate, full adult, legal to do all the things. I was told during a luncheon, in fact, that I wasn't allowed to sit at the adults' table. By which she meant that was the quote-unquote like admin table, which was not labeled. I was trying to find a table where people were not going to screw with me, and that was sufficiently like removed from the chaos that I could just be elsewhere. I was also told that because it was what was available, that I should eat food that I was allergic to. And I'm just like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
not really down for that either. I'm gonna take a pass, and I'm like, so, and so this woman was like starting crap with me, and I'm looking at it. I had a ceramic plate in my hand, and it was literally all I could do not to break it and throw it at her, because I'm like, what? So I left and got real coffee and other like real food from a different venue, not directly connected to the event.
Yeah.
And then I came back and did some of the other events that we were quote unquote required to do as participants who got some secondary services comped as part of our participation.
Yeah.
Where I was then asked, oh, well, do you run a like residential program? Because you act like you know stuff. And I'm like, yes, I know the things. I can read and I know the word.
Yeah.
And I know the word that you're saying because I know the words. And I've written policies like the ones to which you refer. This was also an event at said luncheons that I don't go to events like that not wearing family engagement rings.
Oh.
Because I get asked questions like, I want a girlfriend, how about you? No. When you put it that way, no.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, no, I'm not down for that. And I was considered, after all that fun, I was considered borderline non-compliant and almost censured because, effectively, like got in trouble and gotten stuff not comped that was supposed to be, because I didn't want to sit with everybody for the final night and drink the one Coke that we were allowed. I'm like, no, I don't drink soda. Y'all can have this.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm over it. No.
Yeah, I mean, like, So, part of the nice thing about inclusivity and some of the aspects of socialism in general is that you're supposed to listen to the people who are affected by stuff and then try to make things better.
Right.
And so, you know, they aren't fucked over.
Right. But obviously, don't you want to let the grown-ups run things? Because obviously they have like, no, y'all have been the ones fucking shit up.
Yeah.
How about you sit down?
Yeah, and actually listen to people's problems, because you can't expect, you can't just sort of talk over problems that exist and how should I put if you cut people out and say that their problems don't mean as much as other problems and therefore like should be put on the sideline, you don't really seem like you're coming off like you actually want to help people.
No, but there's that aspect of martyrdom that is especially prevalent in disability circles, which really needs to stop. Because most disability policy and disability-related organizations are run either by caregivers or service providers or parents, usually the self-sacrificing mothers.
Oh God!
Like
Autism Speaks.
So yeah, martyr mommies are a thing, and that's not really great.
Oh yeah, no, Autism Speaks is definitely a very martyr mommy thing. And
Autism Speaks they're a eugenics organization, and they don't really want to help people. They want divergent people to be dead.
Yeah.
I've got the agony mom. I think having to deal with autism was just too much. Trans and disabled, and no, I that's all I can do, and that's all my friends will believe. Yep. Well, I've got red hair and blue eyes too, so I'm a weirdo. What do you want from me?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean,
genetics are.
Yeah, no, the commercial that I think the favorite thing I can think of that sums up Autism Speaks is that commercial where they essentially compare having autism to like having a horrible disease.
It's not comparison for them. They think that it is.
Yeah, I know.
I am autism. I'll fuck up your life. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, there's also the ad that they don't really play so much anymore, where the mother congratulates herself for not basically causing a fiery vehicle crash with her children in it upon learning of their diagnosis, and she wants kudos and cookies for not murdering herself and her children. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And I'm not trivializing mental health whatsoever. The problem that I have with that specific thing is not only is a thing that happened, it's specifically framed and used in a way to procure funds whereby by not ending her own life and by not ending the lives of children, not only she does deserve support, absolutely, but to be basically, they wanted to effectively give her a medal.
Yeah, no, not murdering your children should be a
that's
default.
Not a thing. Not murdering your children is like a thing.
Somehow, just as a radical notion, let me put this forward. Not murdering your children is supposed to be like its own reward, isn't it?
Generally. If for no other reason than survival of the species, right? Like, that's how that's supposed to work.
Well,
right.
I mean, yeah, although obviously
we're not allowed.
Mother's like the one who murdered her transgender children. Yeah. People have ridiculous...
Well, we're not allowed to fall in love with any of that stuff. We're incapable of falling in love, according to some, which is nonsense.
Well, obviously, but part of that also goes back to the idea of if you're not quote-unquote normal enough, then you're not human, because to be human is to conform to general expectations. And so if you're not conforming properly, and in a way that most of society finds unthreatening and otherwise untroubling, then the problem is you, and you just shouldn't be allowed to participate and access general human-related stuff, because obviously you're wrong and you should fix that. Because that's how anything works. And sort of quasi-related to that, one of the things that's come up in my head repeatedly recently is one of my best friends growing up, who actually has a version of a disability very similar to mine. And so she was born in 1978. So not like super recently, but not like super, super crazy long time ago.
Yeah, so early 40s.
And she was the second pregnancy for her family, second live birth. And she was relatively complicated from the beginning, had breathing problems, some other relatively obvious. I was a little less obvious initially, but she was more obvious because she needed more breathing stuff.
Yeah.
And they literally told her parents, you have a kid already. You have one already. So you can obviously like do this process to a successful quote unquote normal end. You can just leave her here and not take her home. And you can get a do-over. And basically it's all good.
Yeah. That
so,
is wrong.
And that was like, that was encouraged. They were told several times, don't bother taking her home. It's not worth it. You can have another one. It'll be fine. And that still happens.
There are some advantages. There are some advantages to being born into a couple of rich families, because this was something that apparently my mom was told to do.
Yeah.
I was born on the way to the hospital, but I was also 4 months premature, and I was allergic. I was allergic to my own blood and a whole bunch of stuff. But as soon as they found out like who she was, it was like a whole different thing. Apparently, this is one of the few things she'll talk to me about.
Of course,
my birth, but or even it's kind of like weird.
Mm-hmm.
So eugenics, of course, is for poor people.
Yeah.
Well, it is, unless you're so divergent that you're like scary. Eugenics is for poor people unless you're so far out to the realm that like cannot correct you at all. In which case, you could just start over, or you could go like full Rosemary Kennedy and put them somewhere where no one has to like acknowledge their existence. Which, by the way, the Bushes did too.
Yeah.
I will say quick, obviously, if anyone else wants to... This isn't to cut you off, by the way. Emily.
No, go ahead. I know, this is what I was trying to avoid.
Anyone else wants to join in the waiting room, this is still a call-in episode. It's just we've had so few callers, and Emily's always a wonderful person to talk with. So, like...
I have thoughts about things, like, all the time.
Yeah. Which is helpful.
Indeed.
But yeah, so, it's I like if you have family that's royalty or whatever, that's one of the ways where you're more likely to just be shunted aside to the like let live, but shunted aside to the royalty we don't talk about,
or cloistered in the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stored in the attic.
Look, it's a nice tower.
I don't think about the birth situation very much. I do. Well, this is something I was going to say from when I talked to you on my thing, but it's because it's come up. There's two different things. One of the reasons I like talking to you is you're one of the few people I know who can understand what the hell I went through.
Okay.
But I mean, other than you're cool and you're fun.
Thanks.
But I also I've also had. I am big on guilt, apparently, because I feel guilty over, passing white, and I feel guilty that I had a chance of recovering, and I sort of did. After being wheelchair bedbound.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to ask you not to do that. But okay.
Which?
Yeah, don't feel guilty.
Wheelchair. A, don't feel guilty. That's not helpful to anyone. B, recovery is a different fucked up narrative. C, overcoming is a different fucked up narrative. And wheelchair/bedbound creeps me the fuck out.
Okay. I don't even know the terms because.
I know, and I don't want to belabor points and get too lost in semantics at the moment, but
I would rather people tell me other things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good to learn terms to know how to better be inclusive, understand what issues people have, and to better fight for them.
Really quickly, on that note, what I'm going to say is equipment, and whether it's bed, whatever, yada yada, and I'm especially sensitive to that based on a conversation that I had recently with somebody else. But so I apologize because it's not you, but it's all the way in my head. The equipment is not the binding. Bodies break and fuck up and all the other fun shit, or not fun shit, but the problem is not one of the things that I try to push people towards or yank them towards is the binding is not the equipment. The binding isn't even your body to a major degree, because if you have sufficient supports and appropriate ones, and you're able to communicate those and access them effectively, whether it's financial or otherwise, then the physical aspects are not the binding. And going back to the idea of binding and that being the restraint is backwards and sideways. One of the things that terrifies me, and I don't say this rhetorically at all, is being separated from equipment that I rely on.
Yeah.
Whether it's I'm in bed or doing other things.
Yeah.
By other people, because that is hard restraint. That is hard restraint to a level at which, if things are either removed ever so slightly, by which I mean a matter of inches, and I either don't know or I really need something and I try to do it anyway, then I can very easily be pulled into self-injurious behavior, and I can be committed for less.
Yeah.
So when you talk about bed binding, wheelchair bound, it freaks me out, and I'm sorry. That's
no. I didn't know any better terms. Look, when I first came out as trans, and my friend Callie schooled me on a lot of terminology I was fucking up. So
Wait, Kelly, who likes Godzilla, Kelly?
No, Callie, as in roller derby queen.
Oh, okay.
Kelly, right? Gaytheist used to be the Gaytheist Manifesto. I forgot what it's called now. That's fine.
okay.
I didn't have a support system other than the few people that were around me who didn't know what to do.
Right.
And even now, if I walk downstairs, if I fall down, which I do frequently, it's.
Well, and see, when I was growing up, I was forced to learn how to fall, and I was pushed down by adults in order to quote unquote learn how to do that. So, yeah, it's a training that you missed.
No, yay.
Well, I mean, I didn't miss it, but I learned it for cool reasons and not awful. I mean, not upsetting reasons like getting pushed down. I learned how to fall from Aikido.
Yeah, well, that's much more fun. I'm sorry. So, Christy, you had a point that I derailed twice.
No, that's okay. It's one of the reasons I felt I didn't have a support system is because everybody just expected me to get better, and and I'm using their terminology there.
Yeah.
It's not how I was thinking. I'm thinking this is something I want to do. If I can't do this, then I'll figure out some other way of getting by, and that'll be fine. But the support system and this is me actually complaining about the community, which is no, you have a chance of getting better. You're not of our concern.
Yeah.
And it was more frustrating than anything else. I didn't know how to operate a freaking wheelchair. I know I will be in one again in a few years.
Yeah, well, also, you need to be properly... And whoever tells you don't is full of shit.
You need to be properly what? Sorry,
you need to be properly fitted for mobility equipment. And anybody who tells you just go to CV, same thing. It's deranged and it's just go away or away.
Yeah.
You've seen video of me on stage, so forgetting that takes everything I have out of me, and it's 2 days of rest afterwards.
Yeah. Oh no. Is my computer okay? My computer is having a problem.
For that 1 hour.
In addition to my own experience.
Okay.
So that's a different thing. Plus, I know somebody who did very similar stuff for a long time and got himself into trouble. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, my Discord, I'm going to disconnect and reconnect, so sorry about that.
Okay.
Did the same problem, which is... I feel guilty over everything. That's kind of my default, I guess.
Stop it. You didn't do that. It's not yours.
See, this is why I'm always joking and stuff, because it's an easy way of getting by.
It's deflection. I know what that is.
Yeah.
And like, so... Yeah, no, there are a lot of ways you can take various things. Well, okay, so first off, I did have a question, because I'm curious on how you would frame this, Emily.
Okay.
So when I had traumatic brain injury, because basically an alarm was put on my bed so that every time I got off my bed to go to the bathroom, it would go off.
Because you're fall risk.
Yeah. So that's just like, I just don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't even know how to think about that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't think of like a clear question, but
the trauma for you.
Oh, we lost audio for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's not your fault.
The trauma for well, I'm checking my. The trauma for you, or why they would do that.
I guess. Well, I mean, it lasted far too long after I wasn't really.
Well, of course it did.
Myself.
Because it wasn't about you. It was service and their liability. And again, lawsuit.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, apparently they installed it after I had gotten to go to the bathroom. I had wandered to the bathroom a lot. I don't remember because that was within the 48 hours I have no memory of, really. So, yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, what was the question?
I don't think I really had a question completely. I think that was my problem. I was just
so that was
within terms of, well, I mean, you're talking about like the problems with the framing of bed restraint. So it's like I didn't know the ways in which that's even how. I don't know what to think about that experience when it comes to things, because it was
it's hard.
Yeah, because because it was like I said, the alarm that went on if I ever left the bed to go to the bathroom. I mean, they had like a thing for walking, because they used like the four walker, like the four-legged walker things for a bit, because of the traumatic brain injury. It's just
it's a safety issue.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, especially mentioning it.
So that was definitely like a very traumatic thing, and it's one of the things that talked about a lot. One, those things happen regularly. Two, those kinds of things happen, like you said, felt it wasn't necessary without you consultation with direct consent. And I'm going to guess part of their quote unquote reasoning for doing that would be their assumption or concern was A, safety, B, that you were not necessarily sort of aware enough to give proper consent at that point.
Yeah.
So that would have been part of the issue. But one of my things, and part of resonance, that restraint does not necessarily have to be what is traditionally thought of as direct.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most difficult restraints to deal with, whether it's physical or otherwise, are those that people don't see as a limit factor. So it's not a strap, and it's not a chain, and it's not, oh, well, one of the things that happens to me, people don't know. You know why? Because the only thing walking ever got me was pain, fatigue at levels most people, except for a couple people here, cannot conceive of, and also the perpetual feeling that I was going to like vomit everywhere, like constantly. So no, that was not effective. That was not independent. That was not functional. That was not sustainable. That's not any of the things effectively that walking is supposed to be. So no, I don't want to do that. That sucked.
Yeah.
And in none of the ways that could even pretend to be enjoyable. No!
Yeah. I will say, sometimes it took them too long when I pressed the button to call them, so then I would get out of bed just to set off the alarm, so that they would, because I had to go to the bathroom. And
that also goes back to a compliance issue too. You don't do what you want when you need to. You do what the hell you can.
Yeah.
So now we're back to compliance.
Yeah. I am having compliance training.
You were being non-compliant.
Yeah.
And see, you're lucky that when you did that, they didn't limit your fluid intake. Because that's something they will do in various places.
Yep.
Yeah.
As punishment.
I got that. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am...
Because if you don't know how to use liquids, deserve them, because it's not like that's a biological process or anything.
Well, they eventually did. They put me on a catheter with a bin. So.
Well, yeah, because that's relatively easy. for them.
Which meant they couldn't go anywhere or do anything.
Well, again, restraint. But they don't have to log it as restraint.
Mm.
But effectively, it's restraint. But if they wrote it up like if a compliance agency came in, they could mark you as being unrestrained and unrestricted.
Yeah, and so by the way, when it comes to the bed thing, like the first 4 or 5 days, like maybe you could make the argument, but I feel like it took me a week and a half before I could finally talk them out of it, and this was after they decided I had enough ability to consent to send me to a different hospital, but clearly not enough to go to the bathroom using a walker that they have.
Well, because that didn't fit their schedule and what they wanted to do. So again, you're being a non-compliant patient, which means you're a problem.
Yeah,
well, which means you should fix that.
Hey,
because it's obviously your problem, not a structural problem at all.
Look, I am upset that I didn't continue the thing that I apparently did really early on, which was shout at them a bunch. I have no memory of this, obviously, but like, you know, after getting hit by a car, because I wasn't like physically unconscious. I just was incapable of processing memory properly and was not necessarily making a lot of sense, but I did shout at people a lot, apparently. Which, you know, I appreciate.
I'm sorry, just the vision of that is hilarious. Intensely, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, because like I'm a relatively soft speaker.
You don't because you don't do that.
I have yelled at.
That's not your go-to.
Yeah, but yeah, that's another story.
But that's not your go-to. That's not your default position.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, to be fair, getting hit by a car, it's understandable for that to be my default position. You know, when after my head slams into the front of a car hood.
Right. Have I ever said on the show here what my advance directive is? Because it's very short.
No.
I don't think so, or at the very least, if you have, I've forgotten.
This is going to be good or terrifying.
It's both. You'd remember if I told you. Because I am compliant and because I'm kind of like I get very panicky. The entirety of my advance directive reads, "Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about."
Okay, but do you have somebody who you really more than one somebody?
Yes.
Who they can call like easily, who definitely pick up the phone or whatever other device?
Yes.
Okay.
I have I saw in the papers, but it has to do with the fact that I was so tired of being in hospitals, and the last time I was in such pain and I couldn't move and I was just screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be something incredibly easy to fix.
Yeah.
Because I at some point I had told Lori, my ex-wife, my then wife, I don't want to come home this time.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure you meant every single word. And yeah.
I will say something that's semi-unrelated. My brain's still on the bed restraint thing because the idea of not having what you need to get up is just... I am aware of how terrifying that is from just dealing with that for one day. Or like 2 days or whatever.
Okay.
it's yeah, no, that's not. That's
but see, to me, the extra terror, the part that gets me, honestly, isn't that so much as there's somebody on the other side who took my shit, moved my stuff, and now they're on the other side, and they can get me, they can literally get me placed into care over stuff I can't.
That's so horrible.
Oh, there are levels at which it gets better that I won't discuss because it would take too long.
Yeah, and we are getting close to the end of the episode, I should say.
So does any... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, wait, what?
Is there a better question to end on than great ending?
Sure. Wait, better question to end on. I mean, I guess, what are some of the nice things that people... No, that's not... No. No, I started to ask a question, and then I immediately saw the potential way in which it can be framed as
that's toxic gratitude.
Ableist,
yeah, let's not do
that. Porn of "at least I'm not you" type shit, and that's not what I was trying to get at. Yeah. And I was just like, "Fuck, no."
That's fine. Okay, then I'll wrap out a little on my. So my situation has been complex, not only in terms of my physical situation, but a lot of other fun stuff that I've gotten. And it's opened up certain opportunities that I wouldn't have had. And it's been both helped and hindered by the way in which my brain works anyway. But I wouldn't... One of the things that I find... The reasons that I find commonality with other minority groups where people don't much like me as people think they do is there's a level of empathy and attention to detail and that I've had to do just to survive as a baseline.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for the places in which that I can A, be myself, and B, be relatively honest about it. By which I mean authentic, but not like, so tell me your entire medical history, because questions that I want to know like right now. It's like, no, you should at least buy me a drink first.
I honestly don't know your medical history and don't really care because it's not really important to me at all.
No, and I'm much more interesting than that. But there's a level of
I believe you're interesting. You've had interesting medical history. I just I'm not that much interested in other people's medical histories, and honestly, if you've mentioned it to me, I've totally forgotten.
Some of it, but
medical histories is part of the challenges you've faced, but it doesn't inform me a whole lot about you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I guess that's where I kind of wanted to end it.
I see.
The idea
take over our show.
Sorry.
I don't know. It's fine. No, that's.
If you give me keys, I will drive this thing. You know that.
No, that's fine. And
but basically, recovery is a narrative.
Yeah.
Being sustainable should be the narrative that we're striving for, and guilt over recovery bullshit, and it's bullshit for everybody.
Yeah.
So okay, now I'll shut up. Sorry.
Okay, and I will move you away from this because
far away. I'll just go. I'll go.
Well, yeah. Just so. Wait, do you say you'll go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you? That sounds so mean. God damn it. I'm just gonna.
It wasn't meant mean. Don't worry about it.
I'm just gonna move you just back to the waiting room,
Okay.
and we're gonna end the show. Yeah.
Well, it's dealt with a lot that's been on my mind, so that I've been dealing with Emily in Messenger lately. So
yeah, no, I've been talking with him. Emily's like a good person to talk with, and also I like to try to listen to people who have stuff. Anyways, we are ending this Colin episode. Our first episode dedicated to Collins. We will be doing this every 10 episodes. So once you start to see the numbers tick towards 70, you will know that the Colin episode is coming up. And with that, Perfict, where can people find you?
They can find me at the Rumpus Room and here.
Yep. Always ask you first because I know how fast you're going to be. Christy, where can people find you?
Christy Abbey is my channel. I took some more time off because of personal issues.
Yeah.
And I'm back on, not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. Joey, Papa Joey is doing the interview, so that's going to be fun. I'll be on Steve Shive's channel for Glisten, where he gives away the to charity of the guest choice, and I'm gonna mine is Glisten.
Okay.
So all the proceeds that all the money he makes off of that episode will be to Glisten, and I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on the 29th, which is a Monday. And next time you see me, my set will be different, and my hair will be different. So,
fancy.
Yeah.
And you can find me, Ozma in the Dark, just about everywhere. Ozma in the Dark. .wordpress.com. I need to double check to make sure I reacquire the osmainthedark.com because I think I need to pay for it monthly, and I just got an email about it recently. And then you can find me obviously in the Fluid Voice here twice a week, 3 times a week if you count the clip edited from episodes. Where else? Talking to Nothing on Twitter. That's Talking to Nothing minus the G. I will be on Sophia's channel tomorrow, where we are going to be reacting to a really awful conservative trans versus anti-trans. That's right, trans medicalist versus transphobe. Joy.
I watched that thing. That was pretty. Wow.
Yeah. So I have not seen
That
it yet.
Sounds awful.
But I am
Sorry.
going to be having. I will comment on that a bunch. It's like I think 6 p.m. GMT. Sophia's show. 6 p.m. GMT. Whatever. Noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Like I said, on Sophia's channel. And then I haven't been streaming. I'm taking a break from streaming on Twitch while I sort out housing related stuff and that sort of stuff. A lot of my focus will be on trying to improve this show and allow more people to see it and all the stuff. And hopefully I have made an attempt to try to fix more of the Fluid Voice Discord, so hopefully that can be a place where people can do stuff, because apparently people couldn't do stuff on it, and I only fixed part of that problem. So now people can do stuff on it and without having to be admins, because holy shit, that was a problem.
Yes. So wrapping up, because to be.
So feel free to check that out. I think that's about it. So
yes.
As we all know, your voice matters. Wow, see, now I've forgotten it. I was gonna say your heart matters.
Your life matters, your voice matters, and you matter.
Thank you. God damn it, my brain sometimes.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah. Bye.